questions. We also want to thank Talos Nutrition for supporting this Q&A project, giving away a free Chiseler protein. It's right over here. It's a liquid protein. It's pretty amazing stuff. 2 tablespoons is 15 grams of protein. It's actually got a collagen in there as well. Very bioavailable, good product. So thank you again, Talos. Question number 1 of this video. Joe Gwynn, what he's asking, what does my supplementation look like on training days or rest days? So here's the thing you got to remember, Joe, is that if you're training hard, let's just say you train hard today, tomorrow you're going to be sore. And if tomorrow's an off day, you're still recovering. Does that make sense? So my nutrition and my supplementation does not change day to day. I don't care if I'm training or not, because if you're training properly, if you're training hard enough, you should be in a constant state of recovery, which means you need a constant state of supplementation and good nutrition flowing through your system. So a lot of times you're going to hear me say in a lot of different ways, don't get lost in the details. What I mean by that is focus on things that give you the biggest return. You don't want to put a whole lot of effort into something that's only going to give you a little bit of progress. So in terms of my nutrition, what I do is I stick with the very, very basics. I make sure that the products that I use are top notch, and I make sure that I'm putting them in at the right time. So for example, these are 2 proteins that I use, the Talos products. 2 reasons. Number 1, the Chiseler product is something that I use actually during my workout. So I put it into my BCAAs. So basically I'll stream 45 grams of protein into my BCAAs in a liter or 2 of water that I drink through my workout. So I'm getting a constant feed of protein while I'm training, because I train for minimum 2, sometimes 3 hours a day, as I love to train, and I don't like to be hungry in the middle of training. If I stop to eat or even drink a big thick protein, it kind of slows me down. So that's one of the things that I do. And then the second thing is I'll use a protein like this bad boy right here directly after my workout. Now, the thing that people get lost on when it comes to supplementation is they just look at some of the basic stuff. They look at, oh, it's got X amount of grams of protein per scoop, but what is in the protein? So what I'm telling you is you have to make sure you use quality products. Everybody knows I was with MHP for years, and when I made the jump to Talos, I was really, really pleased with the upgraded quality of the products, which that's what I'm getting at. You need to stick with the basics, good, healthy, whole foods. Stick with the basics of supplementation. Don't buy into all this gimmicky crap. You know, there's no powder or pill that you're going to take that's going to have some huge yield in progress. That comes from hard work, proper nutrition and supplementation, and good rest. So I hope this answers your question, my brother. Thank you for writing in, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Okay, next question. This one goes out to Whit. Did not give us a last name. So Whit, he writes in and he is asking about his training with his legs. He says he's got a big leg press over 1,000 pounds, but his squat, I won't use the word that he describes, but he says it's blank lame. He says 405 for 3 is about all he's got in the tank. He wants to know what he can do to get past this BS. So I love your directness, Whit, and my kind of guy. So here's the deal. Number 1, you got to start off looking at the whole picture, okay? The easiest thing to recognize, are you getting enough rest? So that's simple. If you don't sleep 6 to 8 hours a night, are you getting a nap? If you're not, make that adjustment. The next thing is, are you properly giving yourself the proper nutrition to make the kind of gains that you want? So here again, you got to make sure you're eating properly. You got to make sure you're eating, most people eat 3-4 meals a day. That's not enough to make good progress with training. I eat sometimes up to 11 times a day. I set alarms in the middle of the night. I am always up in the middle of the night taking a swig off a chiseler because it's real easy for me to get 40 grams of protein, boom, 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 and back to bed. The bottom line is it's a puzzle. Now we're into your training. So we want rest, we have nutrition. Now we are into your training. Okay. The leg press is one of those things where you might have one leg press where you could put 2,000 pounds up and another one is 1,000. It's not really a true lift in terms of gauging a weight, but that's really not what your question's about. So obviously your legs are strong because you're moving around big weights. So keep up the good work. How do you get past a better squat? Well, first thing, if you do the things I just told you, that's going to help in general with your overall progress. The second thing is, my guess is that you probably have trouble with the proper technique of a squat. A lot of times where people run into problems with the squat is because they get pushed forward. There's all sorts of technical glitches that can cause people problems that they don't recognize are even happening. So that would be what I would guess. So what I would do is I would, try to find someone that can give you proper coaching advice. Or, in the future, we're going to have different, more contests with giveaways where we're going to be asking people to send videos. Stay tuned because I'm sure there'll be an opportunity for you to send something in for me to critique your technique. That may be something coming in the near future. But I would say right out of the gate, in terms of your squat, think about this. A proper squat is very much a simulation of sitting on the toilet. So when you do a proper squat, stand up straight, pull your toes in the air, not your whole foot, just your toes. So your balls of your feet are down and the heels are down. Then what you're going to do, your first movement is going to be your butt going back, much like you're sitting on a toilet seat. Now you can go back and sit on a bench as if it was a toilet seat. That will give you the proper squatting position. Now start working on that. Do sets, a bunch of sets of 20 to kind of feel that groove, then pull the bench out of there. Once you've got that without the bench, now go back into the squat. My guess is that you're getting pushed forward on your squat. That's why you're having trouble getting past that 4 off 5 number. You've obviously got some power in your legs. You're just not able to access it due to probably a little bit of poor technique. So keep on working hard, my brother. Rock and roll. This next question is for Trenton Falker. I apologize if I screwed up your name, brother. So his question is about training and how to make your split, and he sometimes trains every day. How to get the best results. He also says that he jogs first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Wants to know if he should do what he should do exactly. So the biggest thing we got to go into, brother, is that you have to create a split where the muscles are getting hit hard, but not too often. So let me give an example. So let's say this is the tissue, this is muscle tissue, okay? Done properly, so here's sandpaper in this hand. So this is like when you're training. You come in, you give it 4 or 5 swipes, then you give this time to recover. And you come back 4 or 5 swipes, then it's time to recover. And ultimately, you'll build a callus right there. That's the proper way to do it. You're working it hard, but giving it the proper time to heal, which allows it to build. If you do that same formula, but you come back too often, that callus will end up being a hole. So basically, you're not giving the proper time for the muscle to heal, so it's not going to grow. So I would say training a muscle every day is a tough thing to figure out. What I would recommend is figuring out a split where you're going to work every muscle, big muscles hard once a week. Small muscles can take a second hit throughout the week, but they have to be more brief sessions for sure. My split is 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. And the only muscles that get hit twice in the week are the bis and the tris. It's more of a secondary thing. So if I'm training chest and biceps, that's one of my groups. Triceps are going to get hit just because I'm training chest. So you see, that's kind of what I mean by a light. It's kind of a side effect of working chest. The main thing you have to remember is that you have to everybody's different. You got to feel. If your muscle's sore, it's not time to train again. Another key is your nutrition. You got to have good nutrition. You got to eat well, you've got to eat often, and you've got to use good solid supplements that actually get into your system. So in terms of jogging in the morning, I'm assuming you're talking about fasted cardio. I'm not a fan of jogging myself, but I'm also, you know, a 300-pound guy. I think exercise first thing in the morning is a great thing. Clears your mind, sets up an awesome day. Doing it on an empty stomach, that's fine too. I think that, you know, there's no issues with that. I think really what we have to focus on here is finding a split that works for you. So I would suggest working big muscles once a week, small muscles twice, but really what's going to help you determine what works for you is the muscle sore when you go to train it that second time. All right, my brother, thank you for the question. Keep on rocking.